listening to the Video Game and Nerd Trivia Podcast with Tony D. Video Game and Nerd Trivia Podcast, your episodic dose of trivia covering all things video games and nerdy. Now, here's your host, Tony D.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Video Game and Nerd Trivia Podcast, where every episode we take a topic of nerd trivia or video game trivia and we ask you 30 questions about it. On today, we're going to be talking about Nicolas Cage movies. How it works is I will ask you a question, give you 5 seconds of silence, and tell you the answer. And we'll have 3 rounds today, 10 questions each. I'm going to be trying to give you maybe plots of different movies, and your job is to name the movie. But if the question's a little bit different, I'll let you know. So let's just play. Round 1. Question 1. In this 1989 movie, Nicolas Cage's character gets bit in the neck and thinks he's becoming a vampire. What movie is this? This is Vampire's Kiss. This is actually that movie where you get all the memes like Nicolas Cage citing the alphabet or that meme image of him saying, yeah, you don't say. Alright, question 2. Nicolas Cage portrays himself in this movie where he's portrayed as broke and needing to do anything for money. It co-stars Pedro Pascal as Javi. What movie is this? This is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I saw this a couple years ago. This was pretty good. You should watch it if you like Nicolas Cage. Question 3. This 1982 coming-of-age film starred Sean Penn and marked Nicolas Cage's film debut, though he was credited as Nicolas Coppola. What film is this? This is Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Question 4. In this 2010 film, Nicolas Cage portrays Big Daddy, a Batman-like vigilante with a violent sense of justice. What movie is this? This is Kick-Ass. They changed character a lot from the comic, but Nicolas Cage totally knocked this role out of the park. Like, he was one of the most memorable parts of that movie. Question 5. An iconic 1997 John Woo film, this movie pits Nicolas Cage against John Travolta in an action-packed, insane ride. What movie is this? This is Face Off. Question 6. Having previously played a character who was thinking he was turning into a vampire, it was a pleasant and ironic surprise that Nicolas Cage played Dracula in this movie about a character trying to break free from being Dracula's servant. What movie is this? This is Renfield. Also a great movie, I recently saw this. Question 7. Set in 1983, this 2018 film depicts a secluded couple that ends up encountering a deranged cult. The girlfriend gets kidnapped, which leads to Nicolas Cage's character spiraling into madness and going on a violent rampage. What movie is this? This is Mandy. Question 8. Nicolas Cage portrays Jack Campbell in this 2000 film, a successful and single investment banker that suddenly wakes up one day into a life where he's married with kids instead. What is the name of this movie? This is The Family Man. Question 9. A drifter gets tricked into being a janitor at an amusement center with demonic animatronics. What movie is this? This is Willy's Wonderland, and this is kind of like the closest you can get to a Five Nights at Freddy's movie without being it actually Five Nights at Freddy's. And question 10. The premise of this 2023 movie is as follows. After being forced to drive a mysterious passenger at gunpoint, a man finds himself in a high-stakes game of cat and mouse where it becomes clear that not everything is as it seems. What movie is this? This is Sympathy for the Devil. Alright, that was round 1. Let's head into round 2. Question 1. This movie was most well known for the meme in which Nicolas Cage screams out, "Not the bees!" What movie is this? This is The Wicker Man. Question 2. This 2010 Disney film by Jerry Bruckheimer featured Nicolas Cage in a mentorship role to a reluctant protege to learn magic and stop Morgan Le Fay. What movie is this? This is The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Question 3. What movie did Nicolas Cage star in where the plot revolved around the Declaration of Independence? This is National Treasure. Question 4. Co-starring Angelina Jolie, this 2000 Nicolas Cage movie was an action heist film where he starred as Randall Memphis Raines. What movie is this? This is Gone in 60 Seconds. Question 5. This 2013 animated caveman family movie had Nicolas Cage voicing a character named Grug. What movie is this? This is The Croods. Question 6. Another superhero movie, this animated movie featured Nicolas Cage as the voice of the noir variant of the title character. What movie was this? This was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Question 7. Nicolas Cage reprises his role of Johnny Blaze in this sequel based on a Marvel Comics character on a motorcycle. What movie was this? This is Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Question 8. This 1998 fantasy romance film has Nicolas Cage playing Angel that guides individuals who are about to die into the afterlife. And then he decides to become human after falling for a character played by Meg Ryan. What movie is this? This is City of Angels. Question 9. Nicolas Cage stars with John Cusack and John Malkovich in this 1997 action thriller where he plays Cameron Poe, a former Army Ranger who helps authorities retake a hijacked flight. What movie is this? This is Con Air. And question 10. This 1995 drama based on a semi-autobiographical novel by John O'Brien is about a suicidal alcoholic who lost his family and job and went to Sin City to drink himself to death. What movie is this? This is Leaving Las Vegas. Alright, let's head into the last round here with round 3. Question 1. This 2020 sci-fi martial arts film where Nicolas Cage and Tony Jaa are martial artists and they must defend the world from alien invaders. What movie is this? This is Jiu-Jitsu. Question 2. This 1994 romantic comedy starring Nicolas Cage as Officer Charlie Lang and Bridget Fonda as Ivan Biasi. This movie was actually inspired by a real-life news story. What movie is this? This is It Could Happen to You. Question 3. This 2019 film, Nicolas Cage stars as Frank Walsh, a skilled big game hunter specializing in rare and dangerous species. What movie is this? This is Primal. Question 4. Titled Tokarev in Europe and Australia, what movie is a 2014 action crime thriller that stars Nicolas Cage as a criminal who slowly builds a construction empire in Mobile, Alabama? This is Rage. Question 5. This 2005 drama stars Nicolas Cage as a Jewish Ukrainian refugee named Yuri Orlov. It also co-stars Jared Leto as Vitaly Orlov and Ethan Hawke as Jack Valentine. What movie is this? This is Lord of War. Question 6. This 2021 American drama stars Nicolas Cage as Robin Feld, who is a former Portland-based chef turned reclusive truffle forager. Its name refers to his trusted sidekick that helps him hunt for truffles. What movie is this? This is Pig. Question 7. 14th century knights transport a suspected witch for a monastery, where monks deduce that her powers could be the source of the Black Plague. What movie is this? This is Season of the Witch. Question 8. A mild-mannered chemist and an ex-con must lead the counterstrike when a rogue group of military men, led by renegade general, threaten a nerve gas attack from Alcatraz against San Francisco. What movie is this? This is The Rock. Question 9. A Las Vegas magician who can see into the future is pursued by FBI agents seeking to use his abilities to prevent a nuclear terrorist attack. What movie is this? This is Next. And finally, question 10. A hapless family man finds his life turned upside down when millions of strangers suddenly start seeing him in their dreams. What movie is this? This is the new movie as of recording this podcast, Dream Scenario. Alright, if you are a Nicolas Cage fan, then hopefully you had some fun with this episode and trying to remember, all the movies that he was in. If you're not a Nicolas Cage fan, hopefully you still learned something from this episode and realize that he had so many good movies, and even if the movie is bad, he always puts his everything into it. And I especially liked that he did that movie Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, where he just plays himself, and he plays himself in a way that is basically him taking any movie he can to make money, because lately his movies seem like that's what's happening. There's a bunch of more trivia information about him and his tax issues and all of his debt and all of that. So maybe I'll do an episode about that in the future for like a mini episode of just Nicolas Cage's personal life. But yeah, for this one, just kept it simple with all his movies instead. If you like this podcast, please rate us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps reach more people. Thank you again so much for listening. You can always reach out to me by emailing me at vgntpodcast@gmail.com. Go ahead and suggest some topics and maybe I'll give you a shout out in a future episode. But of course, until next time, trivia on.